Hello, I'm Peter McKenna from WSI Digital Advisors in London. And today we have the great pleasure of having the company of two of our AI masters from WSI Central in Canada with us. Robert Mitchell, our Chief AI Officer, and Seamus Smyth, our Lead AI Strategist. They've kindly agreed to us interviewing them about the state of play in the AI world, and our marketing exec, Patrycja Kobierecka, is going to take the lead and host the meeting. We hope that you enjoy it, and don't hesitate to get in touch with us if you have any questions afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you're off.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Patrycja, a digital marketing executive at WSI Digital Advisors. Peter, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Peter, and I run WSI Digital Advisors in London with Nikki. I'm the every man in the room today with these two experts. I think that's probably the best way to describe them. At WSI, we try to act as a guide and advisor to our clients through this continually shifting maze, and these two act as my guide.
Thank you. Robert, can you tell us about yourself?
Goodness, that's a lot of responsibility. I'm his guide.
Yeah.
Well, I am the Chief AI Officer for WSI Digital. My main role is to assist our digital marketing experts and franchise owners around the world in applying AI consultancy to their business, basically helping them help their clients on integrating AI solutions into their business. We also work with clients directly, specifically in the franchise space, franchisors and whatnot, and doing the same thing for them. So that's my role.
That's great. Nice to meet you. Seamus, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I work directly with Robert, and I'm WSI's lead AI strategist. And ultimately, my role is to help mitigate risk and maximize opportunity for our clients and our company. So we work very closely together, and you know, it's an exciting journey, and it's a great revolution to be part of. So,
Fantastic. Nice to meet you. As
uh,
you said, the evolution of AI is not just reshaping industries, but also the very fabric of our daily lives. Let's see how this transformation is unfolding and what it means for us all. Let's start with something that touches everyone, daily life. Robert, is there any one standout AI tool that you recommend to use in your everyday life that helps you with, for example, time management?
mhm.
Well, so I'll start with many because there are many tools that people don't know are AI. So let's talk about the fact that some tools are you've been using for decades, like autocorrect on your phone and text messaging. I'm not talking about those tools. Okay, the tools that we're talking about are generative AI or ones that are tied to language models. And so the one I use every day, multiple times a day, until they cut me off, is ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is the the I guess the biggest and the one that's made the biggest splash in the last 12 to 18 months, and allows users to query the language model for a variety of solutions. But the problem is, you say daily life. I use it for cooking. I use it for my daughter's homework. I
Uh,
use it for, what are we going to do for our vacation? All these
Mhm.
things you would have used Google for. So if I'm going to give any advice to people on this call or listening to this blog, I will say this: for a week, stop using Google and use ChatGPT. Just try it as an alternative and see how your brain changes. And if you don't like that leap, make a softer leap and use Perplexity.ai,
yeah.
which allows you to have
Okay.
Google type search capabilities, but also language model assistance. So those are the tools I use. And of course, even on this call, Otter AI or Fireflies AI, or I use Build Better AI, that are there for Zoom calls to transcribe and take notes for you, which is a very powerful tool if you haven't used that already.
Mhm.
That's great. Thank you. Seamus, what's your AI tool that you can recommend?
Well, I have a very clear winner. I couldn't echo Robert's comments more, but I have a very clear winner, and it's my mind. It's that may sound funny, but this tool is a beauty, right? Essentially, it's like a clipping tool on steroids, and it's just so beautifully implemented. And so often we consume so much information, right? But we need to convert that into knowledge and then ultimately into experience so we can pass that on to our clients. And my mind, and it's mymind.com, is just a real beauty, great design, and it really allows you to take illicit information into knowledge. It's wonderful.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Peter, what about you?
Oh, well, for me, ChatGPT is my little helper. And I discover new and interesting stuff I can do every day. And rather like Robert, I use it for everything. And then, sort of, from morning through night, just it sits there on the side. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's it. My mind sounds like an interesting one, Seamus. I'm going
It's
there straight
awesome.
after this.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Fascinating insights. Building on that, Seamus, how do you envision AI technologies evolving in the next 5, 10 years? And what impact will they have on our daily lives?
Well, when I'm confronted with this sort of question, I like to look back instead of forward. And so when you look at transport, we started with horses, say, then trains, then aeroplanes, and then rockets. And then even with communication, we started with smoke signals, flags, telegraph, telephone, now FaceTime. With AI, you can then extrapolate that. It started with cracking codes, powering web searches, Netflix suggestions, as Robert said, driving cars, and now we're moving into managing our home, managing our personal health. But if I had to say that where it's going to really impact us is around health, is that is ultimately the universal sort of type topic that's going to really change our lives and our world, is when we start to really crack the code on our longevity and well-being.
Robert, what do you think about it?
Well, Seamus does open up a can of worms there. In the healthcare space and the science and creating new antibiotics and new cures for cancer, I highly expect AI to be a big part of that. But let's put that aside, because that might be a little bit science fiction-y at this point. Maybe not. It depends on who you ask.
No.
I guess, in my opinion, the biggest leaps are going to be in the ways people process and ideate and problem solve. Because now, as I've said to many people when I do training courses, very rarely do you have the opportunity to sit in front of Bill Gates or sit in front of Warren Buffett or some absolutely brilliant person in their particular sphere of influence, right? You have that capability with a chat GPT. You have somebody that's smarter than almost 99% of the people that you personally know. So why would you not bring that person to every single conversation? And in doing so, everything you do in your life is going to be upskilled because you have an expert as your personal backseat that you pay nothing more than $20 a month for. So that is the biggest impact I'm going to see in the next 5 to 10 years, is the common man and woman are going to be able to use this technology in ways that was gatekept by those organizations that can hire those brilliant people, right? So we're going to see we're going to get to this later, but the rising of the SMEs, right? The rising of these business owners that couldn't afford the talent, but now watch out. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Perfect. Thank you. As we lean more into this digital future, Robert, what predictions are you seeing evolving to ensure the privacy and security of personal data?
All right, this is one of those, another can of worms that I have a soapbox about. So I'm not a fan of any regulation, and I'm not a fan of any protection, because what's going to happen is those who are, this is not like cloning. But cloning, I'll say, is a great example of the whole world determined, you know what? We shouldn't do cloning of humans. And everybody agreed. They're going to stop that science, and nobody's doing it. And even the ones that are trying to, in really weird countries in the middle of nowhere, they can't do it well enough because they don't have the funding, right? Because everybody agreed, let's not do it. Unfortunately, with AI and language models, you're going to have the nefarious actors. And if you try to put constraints on the on the first world countries, like the ones that are developing this technology and are trying to be protective, you're going to neuter our ability to be competitive, and we're going to get overwhelmed by the bad actors. So I know it's like building the atom bomb before they build that atom bomb kind of mentality. I get that. But in my opinion, I don't like the idea of government influence. But when you're talking about privacy and security, there's plenty of protections with regard to that. And all the tools that we built are built behind, secure cloud servers with vectorized databases where the data is not going to be taken into account or taken by the language models. So those are my
Perfect.
thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you. Ensuring that AI benefits everyone is crucial. Peter, how AI technologies being made more accessible to people across different socio-economic backgrounds to avoid widening the digital divide?
It's a good question. It touches on what Robert's just been saying. I guess the challenge is that the AI divide, as such, risks widening the digital divide further within society and further limiting opportunities for certain groups in education, employment, or personal development. I'd make a few observations in that space. I think ethical AI development is key to mitigating bias in AI algorithms, essentially to ensure fair and equal access to AI-powered services. And I'm thinking here, not sort of government-led action, sort of our defense stuff. I'm thinking more about things like HR screening. I'm thinking about healthcare and sort of bias within that. I'm thinking about policing. I think we need to advocate possibly for open source style development to avoid concentrations of knowledge and opportunity. I think we do need transparency, and there's a word here that I've written down, explainability, which I'm pretty sure is not a word, but you know what I mean. Explainability in AI decision-making processes so that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past and allow public-facing systems, I guess like the social networks were, to be manipulated and exploited by bad actors, to Robert's point. And last but not least, infrastructure and access is key, and this is somewhere where government can, sort of can contribute, sort of drive this forward. I think education in lockdown in the UK really demonstrated how social status and its relation to technological access widened the attainment gap for teenagers specifically, particularly. And we need to avoid this type of, sort of event happening again. That's, sort of the 3 points that I'd like to bring out in that space.
Perfect. Thank you. Robert, what do you think about it?
It's interesting. I'm glad that you called on me because I had a thought on that. When you ask the question is how can we ensure that AI benefits all? If you were to ask me 10 years, I'm gonna be like, oh, I don't know, get rich all of a sudden, win the lottery. But now, because it's so accessible and because it's conversational, you don't have to know how to code, you don't have to know how to do anything technical. And when I do training workshops and I see all the gray hairs in the audience, I start to get excited because for the first time in many years, no offense to those people, but they're going to be relevant in ways they weren't relevant in the last couple of years because they can use this tool better than some of the people leaving college. No offense, Patrycja, because they have amazing communication skills. They've spent 20, 30, 40 years in the work sphere. They know how to communicate. And that is the power here because these models are best. You can get your best extraction of their value by your ability to communicate well. And so I'm just saying that it's already here. You asked the question, how we can make sure it's accessible to all. It is already accessible to all. And if you're worried about $20 a month for ChatGPT, there's free versions of 3.5 that's equally as capable. There's free versions of Anthropic. There's free versions of Perplexity. So right now, if you have internet access, which most people do, you already have the power at your fingertips. And yeah, it's already accessible.
Thank you. Speaking of access, brings us to the realm of SMEs, where AI integration can be both a challenge and an opportunity. Seamus, in your opinion, what are the common challenges SMEs face when integrating AI into their day-to-day operations, and how can they overcome these obstacles effectively?
Right. Well, I think the common challenges we are seeing with clients, and I'm sure all of us would agree on this, is that they need some help navigating this space. Is that I think the last time we did a roster on this, there were over 10,000 AI applications and more arriving daily. It's just so much noise out there, and and not necessarily they're not all made equal. So how do you choose? How do you integrate these technologies? How do you mitigate risk? How do you maximize opportunities? Well, for most organizations is that you're trying to orchestrate this, you're trying to create that harmony. Well, they need some help. Is that there's a conductor that helps an orchestra stays in there, and WSI and our team and are there to help that orchestra, which is often the CEO or the COO. We work with them to help create that harmony, that strategy that can deliver on the opportunity, can mitigate the risks. It's that cohesiveness. It's not that one point application. It's like, how can I get this all working together? And so it's a team effort, and sometimes in a team, you need to augment that with external people, and WSI can be those people to help in that difficult task.
Perfect. Thank you. Robert, what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything Seamus said. And one of the things that we're finding with the clients that we're working with, they just got lucky. I mean, I say lucky, not that they're working with WSI, but that's a whole other question, but they're lucky in that they had the perfect storm of individuals in their organization. And what typically happens when I say individuals, we have the soldiers and we have the generals. Generals are the C-suite, and the soldiers are the ones doing the actual work. No offense to the C-suite, but the point I'm trying to make is that the soldiers are the ones that are kind of like are hungry, and they're coming across this technology and like, hey, this is really cool. This can really make our business really good. And like, hey, boss, I have a good idea. The bosses that listen, that's the perfect storm. If we have somebody who's AI champion and somebody who is AI open, whatever you want to call it, which is the leadership, then you have something you can work with. The challenges we're finding are we have ignorant people with their heads in the sand going, AI is not the right pathway. Just stick to your work, shut up and sit down and do your job kind of thing. Those people are horrible. Or worse than that, they're banning uses of this. How ignorant is that? Both in schools and in businesses, they're saying, don't use AI. Like, don't use the biggest technology advancement in the history of mankind. Are you an idiot? So like those are the people that we're up against, unfortunately, for some of these businesses. So that's number one challenge. The other challenge is they get wooed by 60 Minutes and they're like, oh, I need to build this bot because I saw it on this company and they're doing it. But no, that's a hammer in search of a nail. You're using the wrong methodology. You need to be searching for solutions to problems, and maybe AI is involved in that solution, not looking to take something and force it into your organization just because it has AI in the middle of it. So
yeah.
Thank you. Great. Despite these challenges, the potential is still huge. Robert, where do you see the biggest opportunities for SMEs to use AI for automating daily operational tasks, thus allowing them to focus on strategic activities and innovation creativity?
Excuse me. Absolutely. So where we're seeing the biggest, how do we call it? We call it upscaling, or the biggest supercharging of skill sets, or the biggest unlocks of opportunities. Yeah, unlock is the word I was looking for. Of opportunities in organizations is when we go in, again, not hammer in search of a nail. We go into the organization and we take Susie, who's in accounting, and she's got 30 clicks of a mouse, whatever, that she has to do in order to finish this process or this workflow that she does. And we take those 30 clicks and we move it down to 5. Now you tell me how that's not a huge unlock. And we could do a chatbot that does this, that, and the other, or we could do other automations. But when we take those workflows that most people are ignoring and we shorten those down to next to nothing, then we can unlock her ability to be more efficient in other tasks that she's responsible for, or the timeline to deliver those tasks are shrunk as well. So there's a whole slew of unlocks that are happening in small and medium-sized businesses without hiring additional staff, without adding additional software implementations. This is just automations that we can develop using AI that will allow the small businesses to compete in ways they were never able to with their 10 times, 50 times sized competitors. And that's why I feel like SMEs have more to gain than enterprise level, because enterprise are big cruise ships that take 15 miles to turn, right? They just can't turn on a dime. Whereas medium and small businesses are nimble and they have a smaller staff they can do more with. So this is the era. This is the biggest era for small and medium-sized businesses to upscale.
Thank you. Seamus, what are your thoughts?
Oh, wow. I'm going to go slightly, I totally echo what Robert said, is that I just think the most exciting thing that we're seeing at the moment is voice to voice. It's just phenomenal. And I did a little bit of modeling before this, and based on some statistics that are out in America, think how much time we spend on hold waiting for somebody to answer our query. Is that research has shown, I think I just have to refer to my notes, but I think Americans spend 112 hours in their lifetime on hold. Okay, so 112 hours. And I just had a little of extrapolation. If we think of that, each hour is worth $30, right? It is worth approximately $840 billion. Just that unlock, right? Just that very one thing. And that is going to be phenomenal. Imagine never having to wait in a call queue ever again. Yeah. So I think that's exciting. And I think that's available to all companies and all people and liberate. I don't know what's going to happen to music on hold. It may die. So
not to mention
tremendous blow against Coldplay. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, not to mention you can create your own on hold music now. So that's the whole other.
It's kind of dead anyway, in a way. Yeah. Whoops.
Exactly. Yeah. And this transitions perfectly into our next topic, which is AI in communications. Peter, what are the emerging AI technologies that you believe will soon revolutionize the way businesses communicate with their customers?
Well, I think this builds again on what Seamus was just talking about in terms of voice to voice. I mean, we've already been wowed, I guess, by generative AI generating human-like text and improving all the customer service interactions in multiple ways. And as natural language processing continues to evolve, these tools are just going to become that much more capable of handling complex interactions and providing more personalized responses. But there are four themes, I think, that all interweave with each other. The first is sentiment analysis. So if we interpret and respond to the emotional tone of customer communications, this moves us onto another level. This allows, sort of any business or, sort of departments within a business to better understand and react to customer sentiment. And that's going to, sort of improve outcomes enormously. The second is speech recognition. So making voice assistants, IVRs, sort of more intuitive and responsive, but overall enabling people to interact with the, AI-driven tools, sort of more natural dialogues, and that will reduce customer frustration during phone interactions once they get past the hold. Yeah. But more importantly, it frees up the dialogue with your assistant. I mean, we've all dealt with, lousily designed chatbots recently. The accessibility of chatbot technology doesn't make them any better if they're badly designed. And the third is coupled with this again is real-time speech-to-speech translation. Yeah, that's absolutely killer. It's breaking down language barriers. It's allowing businesses to communicate effectively with customers globally without language constraints. One of our customers at the moment, sort of we're building this into, sort of into their website. They're a counseling company. And this allows them to deal with, people in multiple, not so much in multiple geographies, but when you live in a city like London or Toronto, for that matter, where there's well over 100 languages spoken, it's hugely important. And last but not least, myself and Nikki are both retailers, and it's the personalization piece, that is a real game changer for us. Now, whether it's customized recommendations based on predictive analytics, more of that in a minute. But we're used to, as individuals, as consumers, to dealing with recommendations. They'll just get better. Yeah, they'll just improve. Or to that matter, when we're talking about dynamic content customization, how we tailor, sort of people's experiences in terms of the way that they're interacting with websites, with apps, with emails in real time. So it's based on customer behaviors or user behaviors and preferences. But overall, it's more engaging and it's more relevant, so as an experience for each customer, from a business's perspective. I'm really excited here. And that's unusual.
Not in my experience.
So one of the key applications of AI in this space is predictive analytics. Robert, can you explain how AI-powered predictive communication works and how it can be used to forecast future consumer behaviors, enabling more effective comms planning and execution?
There's an easy question.
Well, I'm going to push back on that a little. I'm going to push back on the premise of that question and the presumption. And the premise is that AI can do a better job than humans. So I will say the best use in this space is a client that we're working with, Seamus and I are working with currently. They have 120 locations. And every month for those 120 locations, they have to personally put together a multi-step process of understanding the digital assets and how they're performing, yada, yada, yada. It's like, I don't know how many parameters was. Seamus has like 15 parameters that they have to analyze for every single one of these locations and then present a report so that they, when they're having a conversation with that individual location, they can, strategize new techniques, whatever, right? This takes hours upon hours, a team of, I think, 5 or 6 people to do. And we're going to shorten it down to next to no time. We're creating a dashboard. So when you ask the question about predictive analytics, you have to understand your existing analytics first. And so what we're using AI for in this particular case is streamlining all of the sources, pulling it in from everywhere, creating a dashboard that's, oh, which location are we looking at? 101. Okay, click, click. Okay, this is 101. 102, click, click. There's 102's data. So you can see it all in one place. And so that the human can be informed and they can make the proper assessment. Now, of course, we can involve AI in that particular client's needs. Ask the AI, what would you do? And that's being done now. That's fine. But we first must do a cleanup of what we have. And that's what we're doing right now with a lot of AI tools. So not to say that there aren't some great unlocks in using AI for predictive analytics, but right now we're focusing on getting my house in order, right? Before I clean my neighbor's house.
Thank you. AI's impact on creativity is a hot topic now. Seamus, how do you see the role of human creativity and intuition evolving in marketing, journalism, and the arts as AI technologies become more advanced?
Okay, this is a can of worms, but I think it's a great question. And what we've seen is that we've seen AI actually gain traction in some of these areas more because they're fundamentally more creative. So there's no like one right answer. So the 0 and 1 is no longer there. But ultimately, if I pick on journalism and marketing, I would say personalization, right, is really at the heart of this again, this common thread. And it's this personalization at scale is really at the heart of it. So that's a blessing and a curse because it can create echo chambers, which can divide us or lead to deeper insight. It's not just all bad news, but I think we want it all as a society, and it's an ethical conundrum around copyright and fair use and these types of things. So I think the journey's just starting. We're being informed. But again, I look to the past is that we had this with the printing press. We had this when we were making monks out of work, with the printing press. And there's resistance at first and then it gets adopted. I saw it in Photoshop. I've been around long enough to see how Photoshop was resisted and then embraced. And so we'll continue to see that evolution where we will evolve and we will adapt and hopefully we come out on top and we learn and get better and lives get better in the process. So that's really where I'm coming from.
Perfect. Thank you. Robert, what do you think?
Wow, you're making me talk about this topic. This is, again, a very contested topic. Can of Worms. Seamus was very polite and political about it. There's a lot of people that are risking job loss. There's a lot of things that could come out that would be better. So my mind lands on opinions. So when you talk about journalism, what AI doesn't do very well, and honestly can't do, because then you're not able to hold it accountable for its opinion. So being able to take what's going on in the news and create an opinion is where our brains are going to thrive, right? And that's where content is going to be produced in mass in the future. Like right now, the language models are sopping up all the existing data, right? There's going to come a point where they run out of content to absorb, and they're going to have to start generating their own content. And then what happens with that is you get a echo chamber, but you get a worse than that. You get a feedback loop. You get whatever was the predominant topic is going to be the one that's constantly being fed and refed and put out. And so humans have to be the ones that come to the new content creation. So we will always be needed, even when the AI gets really good about writing the new Taylor Swift song. It's still going to be important that the next Taylor Swift comes out, right? Because they're always looking for the new innovation. So I think there's still a realm for it. But here's my big unlock, Patrycja, to answer your question more directly, and maybe moving on to our next question possibly, is how do we work together? And how do we work together is by those in the arts using it to create their art, those in music using it to create their music, those in journalism being more well-informed and easier informed to produce content faster. That's where the unlock is. And let's not treat it as an enemy. Just treat it as an arrow in our quiver.
Perfect, thank you. And this brings us to our final and perhaps the most intriguing topic, the future of AI. Robert, what steps are being taken to ensure that AI enhances human capabilities rather than replacing them, fostering a symbiotic relationship that leverages the strength of both?
Well, what we do, and this is important for everybody to understand who is a business owner, who has employees, is we have a responsibility to those under our business, who we're responsible for, to make them feel okay about this new technology. And the reason I'm saying this is there's two different levels of that, right? And what we do with our clients is we do workshops, we do training. The first thing we do before we do any consulting, anything about what kind of tools we're going to build for your company, we come in with everybody attends the training. And the reason we do this is twofold. One is to identify AI champions, those who have the skill sets to kind of be part of our new initiative. Okay. We love those people. Number two, the other group of people who are scared. Maybe they're not technologically savvy. Maybe they already see themselves on the chopping block because AI is teetering around all the tasks they do on a daily basis. Our job in the workshops is to excite the ones that are AI champions and give new superpowers to those people who are currently thinking that they're on the chopping block. And this is what we do. We say, use the tool. We teach them how to use the tool and start asking it questions and stuff that you're doing on your daily basis, right? It's not replacing that human. It's helping them achieve their goals and tasks faster. So that's the integration. That's the future of AI, at least in the short term. And many people have said, there's one of my favorite movies is Willy Wonka, the one with Johnny Depp. But all Willy Wonkas are really good. But this particular movie, the father loses his job because he's the guy at the toothpaste factory that screws on the top of the toothpaste. And he loses his job because they got a machine to do that. What happens next? Everybody remember? They hire him back to be the tech that fixes the machine. So when you're looking at the future of AI, adapt fast, because this is the fastest technology ever to come across the planet. So you got to adapt fast, be willing to use it and make your job more efficient, enable your superpowers, but then find new ones. Be constantly learning, because there are going to be new roles that come out of this that you might be the perfect fit for. So that's my advice moving forward in the age of AI.
Perfect. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Seamus. And thank you, Peter, for sharing your invaluable insights today. We look forward to seeing how these predictions and aspirations unfold.
Excellent. Thank you both for joining
Thank
us today from Canada. And thank you, Patrycja, for sort of hosting this session today. That's an absolute baptism of fire. Much appreciated. And we'll wrap up there.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Thanks for listening and watching. You can find out more by visiting our website, wsidigitaladvisors.uk. That's wsidigitaladvisors.uk. Thank you very much.